Following my admission here at the 4th floor of the surgical department, I wrote an article about my experience. The details of that article, some nice, others not so nice, landed me the opportunity to speak to you today. For me, the purpose of my article was not only to document my experience, but also as a means of reflecting on the events that took place. From the beginning of my journey, from the reception to the theater room, I met some amazing health professionals who helped me to understand why I was here and why I needed surgery. My relationship with Korle-Bu Surgical Department started a little over a year ago. On Friday, January 17, 2020 to be precise, I was at the Korle-Bu Theater for a surgical procedure. This was after my scheduled operation had been postponed due to water shortage. How can there not be water? I wondered. But that Friday, while in the recovery room, I heard the doctors and nurses complaining that water was still not flowing in the theater. According to the doctors and nurses, the capacity of the water reservoir was insufficient to serve the entire surgical department. It was explained that although several calls had been placed to management of Korle-Bu and even the Ghana Water Company, it had been to no avail. I further gathered that unfortunately in such cases, some operations are put on hold, like mine was. As for the unannounced power outages, I experienced 3 right there in the theater. My question then was and still remains today, how can we find a lasting solution to this? Fast forward, May 24th, 2001, I was back at Korle-Bu for another surgery. The 1 week I spent here felt like the longest days of my life. It was an experience I'll carry with me forever. While I am ever grateful to the doctors that were assigned to me, I was saddened by the fact that the behavior of some nurses confirmed all the terrible things I'd heard about nurses and their attitude towards patients. On one occasion, after I'd returned to my ward from the recovery room, I spent most of the afternoon sleeping, and around 10 p.m. that evening, the anesthesia had begun to wear off, and so I woke up in serious pain, only to see my blood flowing up the tubes of my now empty drip. I was all alone in the side ward, so I started calling for the nurse on duty. When someone entered my room, I asked her if she could check my drip and if there were medication prescribed for my pain. She locked the drip, told me she was busy and would get back to me. Then she left. I waited for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and started calling for a nurse again. I was in severe pain. I couldn't get up. I was practically crying and praying for the pain to stop. When I realized no one was coming to help, I picked up my phone and called my brother, who is also a doctor here. I told him what was happening and asked him to help me. He said he wasn't around, but I was going to get a colleague to come check up on me. Within 5 minutes, a doctor from theater was at my bedside. I think my nurse saw him entering because she followed him inside. Then he introduced himself to me, went for my chart and started reading through it. Then he set up the drip I was supposed to have been given. I heard the nurse saying I was just about to come and give it to her. After almost an hour. Some will say I am lucky. At least I had a brother to call. But what about the countless others whose relatives are not doctors? Is healthcare delivery now about luck? Does the patient have to be attended to and cared for because they know someone? Have the nurses also seen so many sick people that now they feel no empathy? I had a lot of questions running through my mind. My subsequent interactions with the nurses revealed that they are overwhelmed, especially those on the night shifts. I pray management does something about it, but I don't think it's enough reason not to be professional when it comes to their job. I must, however, add that there were some equally good nurses here who continue to deliver the best health care in spite of the many challenging conditions they find themselves in. Patient safety entails a lot. Sometimes the way patients are treated is enough to help them recover quickly. It's not called health care for no reason. I always tell my friends and family members that I had to get myself discharged early because of the attitude of the nurses. There are a lot of issues with healthcare delivery in Ghana, and as a patient, because I still come for review, I will be glad if healthcare givers are not part of those issues. Indeed, I can go on and on about all the negative things I noticed while on admission, but there were a lot of positive stuff that blew my mind away too. I can talk about the fact that I didn't have to carry a folder now because Korle-Bu has gone digital. That was long overdue. I can also talk about the fact that most of my doctors were young and intelligent. In addition, the patience with which the doctors explained every procedure, answered every question, was awesome. To the management of Korle-Bu, I ask, is it not time we give the surgical department a facelift? A few coats of paint here and there, a bit of renovation, so the building looks more welcoming. And to government, I believe it is time we stop paying lip service to healthcare issues and continue to provide the needed amenities so as to enable healthcare givers carry out their duties as is largely expected. I hope this short speech of mine helps to highlight some of the challenges faced here and also applaud the good doctors and nurses who work tirelessly for the health and comfort of their patients.